Another episode of What Were You Thinking? Presented by World's Greatest. I'm Mike Furman. Jonny Loquasto is here again with less technical difficulties.
Let's hope.
I like to see it. See, you're all set up. You're ready for the podcast. My podcast stuff's in the other room. I'm not all set up, but you look all official tonight. No longer on your cruise ship, so that's
No.
good. Jonny, thank you
No
so
longer
much.
underwater. Thank God. I thought that was going to work out last week, and it was a miserable failure on my end.
And it did not. For those who don't know what we're talking about, go back and watch Jonny's kind of appearance earlier in the series. So welcome everyone. It's I've lost track. We've done so many of these episodes. The Winter Olympics is closer to the end than it is to the beginning right now. I totally forget what day we're in. But we are doing these episodes every day at 9 o'clock, live streams. This is episode number 11. Episode number 11. So this is a big night, Jonny. I don't know if you're aware. This is the night that we eclipse 1 million views of this show.
Man.
A success story that nobody could have predicted, similar to the USA curling gold 4 years ago. No one could have predicted that one either. So what were you thinking? It's a great show. We're taking you inside Olympic sports through the eyes of some of the world's greatest athletes and a comedian or two like Jonny here, Alex Hooper, who joined us earlier in the run.
I'm not playing an athlete. That's not my my role on this show.
No, not at all. But you're well, more so than me, I suppose. So I'm here because not only am I a producer and director of content with World's Greatest, I'm also a massive Olympics super fan. I DVR it. Takes me 3 weeks to watch it. It's intense at my house, both summer and winter games. I even watch the horse prancing, the dressage. I'll watch that. It's awful, but I'll still watch it.
As far as I know, the Olympics is your number one babysitter in your household as well.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly. So what the show is, it's an athlete first, casual, unfiltered conversation. We're going for this run of 17 days during the Winter Games, but we're actually going to continue the show beyond the Winter Games because it's been so successful. Everyone who's watching on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. However, if you want to join the chat, you got to come to where it all happens here on FanFest. That's the platform that we're using here. There's a whole chat room. It's awesome. Watch.fanfest.io/world's greatest, except remove all the vowels. So it's just WRLDSGRTST.
It's not complicated at all. Don't worry.
It's not. We got to do something about that URL. Can we do something? I mean, that's our Twitter handle as well. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. So tonight, in addition to Jonny Loquasto joining us, and Jonny, I introduced him as a comedian, but he's much more, an entire career in sports, CBS Sports, WWE. You had the Wrestling Compadres podcast. Awesome guy. Also joining us today, Gabbi Cunningham, 100-meter hurdler, and Kiara Parker, 100-meter sprinter. They're going to be on the show in a couple of minutes.
Wow.
Also big news, our commemorative NFTs will drop this week, and we'll be giving you details tomorrow, but we actually are going to have NFTs for the show because look, once you hit 1 million views, you got to have NFTs. It's kind of a thing now, right?
Is one of the NFTs that big face of yours over your left shoulder?
I think it should be.
Yeah.
I think it should be.
Could draw a lot of interest.
I may actually even autograph and sell that thing if there's a high enough bidder, for sure.
If there only needs to be one of those ever. So I think it should be an NFT.
There you go. And if you're watching on another platform, you can also just click the link. By the way, it's just that easy. There is a link on Twitter.
Watch on Twitter. Watch on the Twitter account. Top of the page. Tune in. Get us to 1 million.
Well, I want them to come here because then they can enter
that as well.
NFTs, gold, silver, and bronze levels. We'll announce much more about that in the coming days. I think tomorrow we're going to have the big announcement. So real quick before we bring in Gabbi and Kiara, Jonny, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what do you do?
Oh, man. Hey, I'm Jonny Loquasto. Mike and I go back probably 13, 14 years. We worked together.
2007.
Yeah. we worked together on a number of projects over the years. But yeah, like Mike said, I do a couple of things. I've been a stand-up comic for a long time. I'm a play-by-play broadcaster for primarily professional wrestling, also doing other combat sports as well. A lot of hosting, a lot of voiceover work. I actually just did play-by-play in an upcoming documentary about an Olympic hero. I'm not allowed to say who or what, but
Oh,
you definitely know the people behind it. I'm very excited to see what happens with it. But I was actually able to go in the studio and add some play-by-play to the action of
oh.
this Olympic winnings. I guess I could
So
say. So,
so what
hmm.
happens if you violate your non-disclosure agreement live on stream? Just curious.
I haven't been paid yet, so I'd imagine that's number
Okay.
one.
Yeah, we don't want to mess with that. We don't
I
want to
think
mess with
you know the check could be in the mail. Who knows
yeah,
these
yeah.
days?
I'll give you that head and this hat,
Yeah,
if you get in trouble. That's really cool. I can't wait to see what that's all about.
it's gonna be really cool.
Anytime there's any sort of documentary or movie or anything like that on track and field, I'm gonna be
Oh,
watching it.
well, it's
So,
not gonna be on track and field. I said Olympic hero. Didn't say what
oh,
sport. Yeah.
oh, okay. Oh, can we play 20 questions? Is that against your
No, we
NDA?
cannot because then we might narrow it down. But it is
Summer
going
or
to
winter?
be.
Summer
It's
or
an
winter?
honor.
Summer or winter?
I can't. I can't go there, Mike.
Awesome. All right. Well, then I'm done with you. I think we should bring
Thank
in
you.
Kiara and Gabby.
Oh, please. They're the stars of the show. I'm just drinking my tea here. Don't worry about that.
Personally.
Let's
Oh, what
go.
kind of tea you got?
It's called a relaxing stomach tea. So basically, it's like at the end of the day. Yeah, I'm at that age now. I like my tea. Throw a little honey in.
Uh
I'm
huh.
winding down with the Olympics
Uh
right
huh.
now. It's a
And,
wind down time of
and
night.
I do like the evil twin goatee. Kiara
Yes.
doesn't have her goatee on, neither does Gabby. So obviously these are not the evil twins of
No.
our two guests. What's going on, ladies? How are we doing tonight?
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, all right, Kiara. Just coming off of a win in Louisville on American Track League. I was watching on ESPN. I
Yeah.
anytime that I can wake up and like have my morning coffee and there's track on ESPN live. It was like 10 a.m. or something like that. I
It
was
was.
loving that. What are you thinking when you look at your start time and it says AM?
Well, every day we practice at 9 a.m. anyway.
Oh,
So
you're
it really doesn't, I think I'm like, okay, that's the time I practice anyway. So I'm pretty much used to it. So we do blocks in the morning at 9 a.m. We do long runs in the morning at 9 a.m. So nothing is new under the sun.
oh,
So
I
I'm pretty.
just
Well,
saw
on
a
a
video pop up of your race real quick, but it only showed your immaculate start. I didn't get to see the finish, but it looked like a really good start as far as my
Thanks.
analytical mind goes. And then we also have Gabby joining us, 100-meter hurdler, and we've had Devin Allen co-hosting the show a lot over the last week and a half. Another 110-meter hurdler, I guess if you those 10 meters really make that much of a difference, right? But first time Olympian in Tokyo. I think it was fifth. I want to say was your finish.
7th.
Seventh. Why I should do research. Well, either way, you made it farther than I would have. So congratulations on that.
Thank
Uh,
you.
so I want you to tell us a little bit about your Olympic experience because it's I I really like to hear everybody's perspective
Yeah.
on how the games treated them.
It was really cool. I've been on one USA team before, a junior team. So like making a senior team and going to the Olympics was like a very different experience, staying in like a village type setting where all the teams were together.
Mhm.
And then also like having a dining hall that you go eat at or you can see like people from different sports. I
Mhm.
thought that was a really cool setup and I really enjoyed just the atmosphere that they created for us and the volunteers that were helping out, they were so amazing. Like they just I feel like they made the experience because their personalities and everything about them was just so welcoming and it made you feel like you were safe in a time where the protocols and everything were way
right.
different than what they would be at another meet.
Mhm.
I will say it was a little like awkward being in a stadium that had no fans with such a moment that's supposed to be like hype.
Right.
Um, but I feel like they did make it work with having, like, different sound effects and everything, and then bringing us out and giving us intros. So that was cool. I really enjoyed it.
Were they were piping in crowd noise like for the race and stuff like that?
Um, it was more like noises that were if I could compare it to something, it might be like Jaws. So it was like, did it,
What?
yeah, like they would play that like as they were like about to start another event. So
Like,
it kind
yeah,
of like
you
made
you
you a little nervous. No.
it's like you'll get up for your race more if you think there's a shark chasing you in the
Right.
water.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
It
John,
turns out a funeral home organist was actually in charge of the sound at the Olympics, I believe is what it was.
Wow. Yeah, probably.
so, yeah, and Johnny, when introducing yourself, you skipped the whole physical therapist, like you were
Oh
a
yeah,
medical professional type thing, like you know
sure.
every muscle in the body and its name
Mhm.
and function. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of the thing that applies more so to uh, th- this whole show, this whole
Well,
athletics
yeah,
thing.
the Olympic athletes like you both, and or the highly skilled athletes, I call the fast twitchers because you have the fast twitch muscle fibers. You got, especially being a hurdler and a sprinter. Oh my God! I mean, you have to turn it up immediately. I mean, I have a question for both of you. Let's say you have an event at say 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. How early do you start your day, and how much of a process is it to get ready? Because it's not like you're a distance runner. You are boom, guns blazing.
Yeah.
You want to go first, or?
I can. So typically, I would say I probably like eat breakfast at 8 or 9 o'clock on a typical meet day. And then I kind of just, it depends on what our race time is. If our race time is early, then I'll eat breakfast. I may even get ready before breakfast. It takes me like an hour and a half. I got to listen to my tunes and do my makeup and everything to get ready. But if it's not an early race day, then I'll wake up, eat breakfast, kind of like chill in my hotel room, maybe go get a small bite for lunch, and then I'll try to like take a little like mini power nap just to kind of like re-energize me, go get some coffee, and then get ready for my race.
Hmm.
So you do caffeine up just a little bit before the race, then.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, Kiara.
Cool. Well, if it's an early day for me, I'm like, if I am first race time is at 10 a.m. I'm up like 7:30 eating breakfast. Like I eat breakfast before I do anything, and I get ready until right before it's time to leave. So if race is at 10:30, I'm out of the hotel by 9 o'clock. So then I can get to the meet by 9:30, have an hour to get my mind together, and then warm up. And by the time I'm ready, it's race time.
Mhm.
So it's pretty much the same thing that I do with practice days. I wake up 7:30, eat breakfast, get ready, go to practice for 2-3 hours, lift weights right after. So I personally prefer earlier race times because that's my normal routine.
Mm.
Like it's not anything that I'm not used to already. I'm not used to working out later on in the day. I'm used to laying in my bed by 3 o'clock. So I don't want to have to. I don't necessarily like later like
Mhm.
race times, but I'm cool with it. I don't mind. I can race whenever, but I just have my preference.
So,
And
so
good, Mike.
just to follow that up, because you said that, oh well, you're used to getting up and doing your training early in the morning. What's the difference on race day versus training day, other than maybe a couple extra butterflies or a little extra pep in your step?
Um, I think the only difference is I don't eat as much on race days.
Mm,
Like I'll still eat, but it'll be lighter. Like on a practice day, I'll eat a oatmeal and eggs and maybe some sausage, some fruit, and like a full bottle of the 16-ounce water for breakfast. But if I'm like on race day, I'm eating 2 eggs, a piece of toast, some sausage, maybe some bacon, and on with my day.
okay.
So maybe a yogurt. So it's like I reduce I reduce my calories by a little bit more on race days than I do like on practice days. But I think that's pretty much the only difference between
All right.
the
So bacon only on race day. I got it.
A-
two.
Are
Got it.
Right.
If it's
Special
one
times
lesson
for
I've learned
special medical.
today, It's bacon is only on race day. It's an important
Special
practice.
times.
Are
Yes.
either one of you on specific nutrition regimens? Because obviously you're both very young, but at the same time, nutrition's such a huge part of athletics, especially over the past couple of decades when people are more educated now, and you could really do body hacking to be at your absolute best. And for what you both do, a millisecond can make a huge difference. So, do either one of you work with nutritionists, or do you just do your own research? I'll go to Gabby first.
I pretty much have been just like doing my own research, kind of taking it as trial and error over the years. So now I would say my diet is pretty like boring. I eat probably the same every day. I usually start off the morning, I'll do like 3 eggs and some turkey bacon, and then I'll drink like orange juice and maybe do a banana or something. And then I'll go to practice. After practice, I'll do like a protein shake. If I have weights, I'll go to weights, maybe do a protein shake, and then have like a chicken Caesar salad after that. And then pretty much I don't eat anything until dinner. And for dinner, it's like some type of baked chicken, grilled chicken, smoked chicken, and broccoli. So it's like very limited. I don't eat any fried foods when I'm in season. I don't eat any like baked
Sugar.
goods when I'm in season. It's like I'm like I literally go cold turkey both ways. So like in season, it's like all strict eating like healthy stuff, and then out of season, I just go crazy.
Ice cream cake, fried chicken, mozzarella
Everything.
sticks. I'm always so
That's your diet, Mike.
you know what? Actually, no, my diet's improved a little bit recently because I
Oh,
got to this point of my life that I like to call obesity, and
Sure.
I'm scaling it back. Oh, hey, I'm playing racquetball every day. It's a good time. It's melting away fast. I'm
Mhm.
actually on shakes for breakfast. I got a Vitamix. It's fantastic. But I'm
oh.
always so nervous whenever cooking dinner for you athletes because like when World's Greatest, when we go to different events, we always get an Airbnb. We invite athletes over. They come over for dinner.
Let me
Yeah,
say,
you
Mike is a
actually.
great cook. Mike is a great cook. I can definitely attest to that. He is
Yeah,
a
no,
great
you
cook.
came over. I forget what I made for you. I remember I made those strawberry shortcakes
Salmon.
for dessert. I made salmon.
Yeah, salmon.
That
Yep,
was good.
salmon
And I
was
think
one
there
of
was
them.
Brussels sprouts
Really
in the
good.
mix.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep.
and then the little strawberry shortcake. Yeah, it's good. But it's always tough because I'm
Yeah.
just like, man, like I got to be careful what I'm putting in this.
Yeah.
Like it was, sometimes, things go off the rail, like before Olympic trials when Gabby Thomas put down a whole block of cheese sitting in front of me and then did what she did. But otherwise it's usually you got to be really kind of
Yeah.
kind of careful with what you're putting in your bodies. And I'm always impressed that you guys are just very you can't waver. I guess that's what makes you the greatest and makes me who I am. But yeah,
Well, Kiara, how about you? Do you have something specific that you follow every day? Because I mean, like he mentioned, Gabby Thomas, one of the best, and apparently can eat a lot of cheese and not feel terrible.
lots at a time. Yeah.
But even
Well,
top level
I cannot.
athletes, yeah, I was going to say even top level athletes, yeah, you have to be strict. So, what's your regimen like?
Well, I've recently decided to go pescatarian, so I'm doing fish,
Nice.
um, vegetables, and chicken. But I'm not giving up my chicken, and I'm not giving up bacon. I've already decided that too.
That's
So,
not pescatarian at all. That's just no red meat.
so hey, I one step at a time, okay?
Yeah.
I
Hey,
can't
you're
do it
getting the
all at
omega
once.
3s, and those are good for the joints. So, there you go.
Exactly. And I've had some very bad joints in the past, so I'm
Mhm.
doing what I can to, you know, because I can't drink regular milk. I can't like do the dairy because it messes up my stomach really bad. So I had to cut all that out. Like it was I let's put
Really,
Mike in training mode.
really. That's what we're putting up on
but
the screen today.
but
The sad
so
thing
that's
is,
why
there's a date on that was not a tweet from today. That's the problem.
but yeah, so that's where I'm at with my food. I do strictly seafood, fish. Salmon is my favorite,
Mhm.
and my favorite meal is like a salmon asparagus with some, quinoa or some rice.
Also,
Just
you mentioned having joint problems in the past. So that would mean make sure you have a diet that's very anti-inflammatory.
Mhm.
So blueberries, turmeric are two
Mhm.
of the absolute
Yes.
ones. Be a little careful with quinoa. That could be a little inflammatory for the body. So just research a little bit. But the most and the more
Jonny
anti-inflammatory foods you
Loquasto,
can
ladies and
get,
gentlemen.
Right.
There we go.
yeah,
Thanks.
it's gonna help a lot. Because I mean, look, joints are we only have what we got, and we got to work with them. So if you just
Right.
make a couple of changes and really go for this, blueberries are the number one superfood. So boom, organic blueberries.
Yeah, I love blueberries. I love
Yes,
fruit, like period.
there you go.
Yes.
So every day I can eat a bag of grapes like at a time. Mike can attest to that.
Yeah,
You know,
I could even send you a PDF that has a list of all the best stuff after the show to help you out. So
For sure. Please.
Loquasto is now the world's greatest nutritionist and physical therapist. You're hired, Johnny.
look, my life is halfway over. I'm trying to stay young. All right, I need to know these things at this point.
I don't know about halfway over. I don't know about that. You're guess how old he is. Someone guess how old.
Statistically, I'm not gonna say my age. I don't do that. A
No,
lady
someone
never
guess how old
tells.
he is.
Stop it.
How old does he look?
Do
I
you
need a
want me
guess.
to like openly guess?
Like,
Johnny,
do
would
you
you
Go
be
think
for it.
that
okay with me
he
guessing?
enjoyed the
Please,
halftime
please.
show the other day? Is the
I
question.
would if I was guessing, I would guess like 41.
Okay.
That's millennial. That's still a millennial.
Technically, maybe.
I mean,
I
my
don't know.
mom is. I'm not gonna say what my mom is. Never mind.
Right. Don't do that.
So it's funny. So Johnny came out with a comedy album recently. It's really great. It's called Physical Therapy.
Well, special and an album to follow, like kind of a combo thing.
Well, so it's funny. Your album, since it was the last thing I bought on Apple Music,
Oh.
automatically plays whenever I get into my car. Remember when they dropped that, like, what was it, like a U2 album, and it would do that to you like all the time? Like, it
Yes.
was the worst. It was the worst thing ever. And now instead of U2, it's Jonny Loquasto. But that's a little bit more enjoyable. But you do have this whole running bit about how you still use a Hotmail account. So I mean, we can just end it right there.
It's it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I still do technically have a Hotmail account. Proud to say it. And yes, I enjoyed the halftime show. Are you kidding me?
But
Yes,
you're closer to birth than death. Come on,
Yes.
John. You're
Yeah.
doing better
Yes,
than I am.
appreciate
You're doing
that.
better than
Thank
I
that
am.
was a really good show.
you. Oh yeah.
So it was fantastic. We'll talk about it later. It was great.
It brought back a lot of memories. Yeah.
Prince was better though. That's all I'm gonna say. Prince was that was the
Wow,
one.
that's what my coach said.
It was
I mean,
also
look,
Prince's best concert I've ever been to at the LA Forum. I digress. The Winter Olympics are on, and that's the
Mhm.
main reason why we're doing this entire show.
Mhm.
And we have a segment that we're going to be playing after you guys are gone, where I did a Zoom chat with some USA Nordic athletes that are out there in where are they now? They were in Norway and Germany. I don't know where they are right now, but all of their events, if they're not in Beijing right now, they're in Europe. And I was asking them all these questions about travel horror stories since Johnny was just on a cruise with really bad Wi-Fi. So I got their travel horror stories. We're going to play that in a little bit, but I'm curious, just talking about the Winter Olympics. Have you ladies been watching any of the Winter Games? Do you enjoy watching the winter sports?
I'm a big ice skater fan.
Uh,
Like I like the speed skating. I like the obviously the figure skating. Um I can't really think of any other skating like that I really enjoy.
hockey? There's hockey.
Um
You want
but
to see
everything else
hockey?
I'm pretty much scared to watch cuz I'm terrified of watching people get injured on ice.
right. Totally.
So I'm cool with watching like them just sliding down a hill or like bobsledding. Bobsledding is really good to watch too. It's fun. But anything else, I'm like,
That's the most terrifying of them all, though. Like
yeah, because you
the
can like
skeleton
flip
and the
up a
luge when
wall
you go
and
down that chute, and
Oh,
just, like they're like
monobob. Oh,
100
monobob's my new favorite. Come on now.
Monobob was fantastic, and
Yeah.
and we didn't do all that bad. That's a great tweet. But yeah, the bobsled run with the skeleton when you're just on your stomach head first going down the bobsled run. I don't know how you choose that as a career path, but no.
I've always said that I would want to do bobsledding. Like after I'm done with track, I could see myself like doing bobsledding and like
Yeah,
hopping in and like jumping in and just
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it translates so well because of the explosiveness, like out of the gate, pushing that sled. I think a lot of track athletes said if there was one thing that they're gonna do, or that one thing that they would try, it would be the bobsled. primarily, I think, because of that. And we all know, Lolo successful in bobsledding, world championship last year. It's I think it translates very well. Although you wouldn't have much time off if you were doing two sports. So no ice
That's
cream
why I said I would wait till
Gabby.
after.
I have a
No,
question. Question for Gabby from going back to the Olympics. So
Mhm.
obviously you're one of the best in the world at what you do, and you prove that. But when you were there, I often wonder, top level athletes like you both, are you ever still in awe of other specific athletes? Like when you were there, was there anyone
Mhm.
you just saw that you were like, oh my God, how do they do that?
Um, I wouldn't say that I was like, so all the outfits that I felt like I would have been in awe of, I like literally always missed when we were in the village. Like apparently
mm,
Simone Biles was in one of the like medical rooms and a whole bunch of people got to see her and I was so mad. I was like, how did I miss this? Like I literally was just downstairs and everybody's like, she's downstairs. I'm like, well, I'm upstairs now. And so yeah, I think I didn't like since we didn't get to see other athletes like sports,
Mm.
I will say I did see dang, he plays basketball and he's really
he's
yeah.
tall. Is he
For
tall? Were you gonna
USA.
I know I was about to
he
say
plays
so.
basketball and he's tall?
Yao
Did he?
Ming. Yao Ming.
Oh,
Oh,
what's
okay.
Oh,
No, he's tall.
right. That's a
Yeah.
tall one.
He
So
is
The
I
tall one.
I saw him and the whole time I
huh?
did not know it was him.
mm,
And I had like one of the athletes came up to me and was like, "Hey, can you take a picture of me and Yao?" So he goes up to Yao and he's like, "Hey, can I have a picture?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." The whole time in my head, I'm like, "That's not Yao Ming." Like because I mean it looked like him, but like he's like older now and he looks a little different. And then
he's
I
still
heard,
7'3".
well, yeah, that's true. He's huge. He's like
Oh,
literally a giant. Like seeing
Yeah.
him in person, I was like, this is a giant. If there was a thing, it would be him.
I want to know why Yao Ming denied photos with Olympic athletes. That's shocking to me.
Yeah, I don't know why or what
Hmm.
the reason was, but
Some folks, maybe, I don't know, they like privacy in the like there were a couple of times, the only content that I got, like people texting me from within the village, it all happened within the cafe, which was a very impressive spread, if I do say so
yes.
myself. Like that, I wanted to eat everything that was in there. But outside of that, like I never saw anything inside weight room. Oh, 7'6". I shortchanged him, excuse me.
Yeah.
wow.
But yeah, maybe that's it, or maybe he just knew that he wouldn't fit in the frame. Like it was the top of someone's head and Yao, or
Hmm.
just like
Yeah, the
the
guy was
bottom of,
kind
yeah,
of small.
or maybe
He probably should have stayed seated. He could have just turned around and would have been like,
yeah. No,
Yeah, exactly.
I go into I'll just selfie bomb him, be like,
I
you can't
know.
get out of this picture now. Although you have to angle it, like really, like
I have
that
a
I
unflattering.
felt so
Like,
bad. I was like, I'm sorry he denied you.
I have a question for both of you. I'll go to Kiara first. Is there anyone, whether it be in your sport or another sport, that you look to as a hero growing up, or like an inspiration?
hmm,
Um, phew, everybody knows that I love Allison Felix.
mhm.
Like she is, I call her my bestie, and she'll probably see this and laugh because I call her my bestie to her face. So, um, like she's always the person that I really looked up to, like watching her from when I was in middle school to like being able to pass her a baton in a relay. Like that's something that I never would have ever imagined. And that's something that I would want to do, like somebody
Right.
watching me, and then I'm still able to be around to be like helping them in the professional world. So, that's the one person I look up to, and I'm
Didn't you line up next to her in Fayetteville last year? Like
yeah, in
it
the
was you
60.
did a 60 against her. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
you standing next to her. I actually remember this because you're trying to like, it's no big deal, but I'm literally in the lane next to Alex.
I'm like internally screaming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
And you're just like, no,
I'm
shake
like,
it
I
out.
don't want to make it look bad.
Yeah, and you had a good race too, if I recall. I think
Yeah,
it was
that was
like,
my first indoor race the whole season.
yeah,
So I was pretty happy with it.
yeah. And then she goes on to, I think to set a milestone in the 200, like a couple of like an hour after that too. So maybe that
I
was the
think I remember that.
She lined up next to you and was like, "I got
Yeah.
this is Kiara and my 200 real quick." And there you go. What
Oh
about
no,
you?
I didn't run the 200.
No, she did after running against you,
Oh
and
yeah, she did. She did. Yeah.
then that's the only motivation that she needed to dominate that. And it was like the first time she did it in like a decade plus. It was crazy. Gabby, what about you? As far as whether it's inspiration or just someone who you really look up to, but within your sport, who is that person?
Within my sport, I would probably definitely say Alice Felix is one of them, and
Mhm.
then the other one is Gail Devers.
Okay.
Wow. All
Yes,
right.
and she's like she ran sprints and she ran hurdles, which is
Mhm.
what I do. So I kind of like look up to her and watch her videos and everything and how she did it. And so like since that's one of my goals, one day.
That's amazing though to watch the greats and you see what you can learn from because she's a different generation, but there's plenty that you could probably pick up on that helps today, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So does that mean we're going to see you do a 400 hurdle sometime soon?
No 400 hurdles.
And
Like short sprints,
That was a push.
100.
I want to be there for the first one that you do. I want to watch. I want to watch it go down.
Mm. Okay.
How cool is it to
Not
know
a tough
that
field or anything. The 400 hurdles is not a tough field by any means, right? They're looking for someone to take the baton, right?
I like the training that I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
It's not for 400 hurdles.
All right. Yeah. You know what, Delilah and Sydney, you can have that one. That's
Right.
okay. Yeah.
how cool is it to know that you're both
Why do you keep putting up pictures of me humiliating myself? At least
well,
Garrett's in this one.
it
So
happens a lot, man.
when I was down there, real quick, Johnny, down in Fayetteville last year, I went to some of the training sessions that Kiara was a part of with that group with Captain Johnson, and he declared I have possibly the worst hip flexors he'd ever seen in that
Sure.
building. I don't even know why they let me in the door at the Randall Tyson, but they did. And so Kiara there was like, I'm going to show you how to get those hip flexors to open up a little bit.
Ooh.
And they still haven't, but I
No.
have been trying. Yeah, foam roller right over here. I got one of those percussive guns, but still nothing works. So maybe you got to show me a few more. A few more.
Hey, might have to start using it more.
Fair.
She's also not a miracle worker, Mike.
We could use one of those. We
Yeah.
could use one of. That's why we chose this as the logo, because if you turn it upside down, now it's an M,
It's
and I need a miracle. is what that is.
Well, for both of you, how does it feel to know that you're now currently inspiring the next generation of young women who want to be high-level athletes, who want to make it to the Olympics? Have you had any really cool experiences like that with maybe young girls who are just enamored with your success so far?
I've actually had a few young girls that have like asked me to go eat lunch with them or just, kind of like give them pointers. I know a lot of times my coach back at my high school, I'll like send them shoes and stuff for them
Nice.
to like wear that I'm not gonna wear because I have a whole bunch. And they really appreciate that. So I just think it's crazy like for me to think that I was once in their place looking up to all the people that I'm now running against. And so that's like really cool to think about it, how everything comes in full circle to now know that I'm one of the individuals that they're looking up to. And eventually they'll be running against me too.
I don't think you answered what winter sport you're gonna do or would do. I guess I should say. No pressure that you actually have to. What
So
would you do?
I was gonna say bobsledding because actually, in 2020 or before the pandemic hit, they actually had reached out to me to,
What?
yeah, to like try bobsledding. But at the time, I was like, I was just now coming out running professionally, and so I kind of wanted to like focus on getting my form down and working on that training. And so I was like, no, I'll like wait. But I definitely think it could be something that I consider in the future.
Okay. I
Fun.
like this this little tour that we're getting
I
of
mean, I
the
think we're looking at future bobsled teammates is what I'm reading into right now.
Hey.
High five.
Yes.
oh, I like that. I like that. The Yeah, we have a little behind the scenes action here of the village and opening ceremony that we were sent by Anna, who was on earlier, who is ski jumper, with the only American ski jumper that was out there in Beijing. Uh, I'm kind of curious, and we got videos of like processing and clothes and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, no offense, those winter uniforms are like,
Oh my god. I
yeah.
like was jealous just a little bit. I'm like, can we like trade some gear?
Well, so I was given a jacket from Tokyo,
hmm
and I'm afraid it's that one right there. You're familiar with that.
Oh yes, yeah.
I'm afraid to even go near it because it's just gonna stain. It's gonna get all
Yeah.
dirt. Like, why would you pick the whitest of white jackets? Because you can't wear it anywhere, and the hat that came with you can't wear it anywhere. It's just like uh, I was even afraid to just hang it up there, but I love the baby blue,
Yeah.
or powder blue, whatever we wanna
Yeah.
call it, that the winter
Yeah.
jacket was. I gotta finagle one of those somehow. I don't know. I'm not gonna tell you how, but I'm gonna make it happen. It's legal. Totally
Yeah.
legal. Don't get any crazy ideas here. Yeah, don't
Yeah,
get
I'm
crazy.
definitely
Oh,
scared to wear.
I got Rio and I got
Oh
Tokyo,
wow.
and I guess I'll get both of your Paris outfits. Is that it?
Paris, yes.
Hey.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Hopefully it's
Um,
a different color than white because I don't touch mine either because I don't want it to get dirty.
it's yeah, it's terrifying. And then for the metal jacket, they took it one step further. They're like, we're gonna make the zipper white too. So now
Yes.
even when you zip it up, even if the zipper is the only thing you touch, you're done.
Oof.
And like you're supposed to wear that into the cafeteria, like you're gonna get ice cream cake and chicken grease all over it.
I'm too
No,
clumsy. I know I will spill something.
wait, are you telling me that the tent has ice cream and stuff like that in the Olympic tent?
No, that's Gabby's off-season regimen, but yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, I was like,
They had
wow.
pizza. I saw pizza.
Okay.
They had pizza. Yeah.
I did have
Surprising.
muffins over in Tokyo though.
What was your favorite thing that you had over there that was not like standard American fare that they had for you in Tokyo?
Um, well, I guess this is like kind of American, but not really. So I didn't really experiment with the food in the village because I was nervous. I didn't want to go too far off my regiment and like
Sure.
end up
That's
sick
not a smart
while
place to do
running. But in the airport, I had these kebabs that were like they were fire. They were really
Mm.
good.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably
I
But
like
other
that.
Kobe.
than that, we didn't
Kobe
get to
beef.
like go outside the village and kind of like see how the food was in
Well, yeah, because
Uh,
they
Tokyo.
kind of made you. I mean, you couldn't leave, correct? You kind of had to
Nope.
stay. Yeah,
Yeah,
close
we had
quarters.
to say, yeah.
Right.
so what's next? We have the indoor season just wrapping up now, right? So what do we have to look forward to, both of you? Where can people watch you kind of do your
Mm.
thing? Right? You got a championship
Um,
coming up soon, right?
US champs and
USA's.
next week?
Woo.
Is it
Yeah.
next week already? Yeah, I guess this
Yes.
is almost
Yes.
It's
done.
coming up
Oh
so
my
fast.
God. What?
You see what I'm talking about? You see what
See,
I'm talking
these
about?
are the ones that I'm scared to watch. Like,
Well, see, this one's
guys.
not too bad. I don't know if you've watched any of the ski jumping, which
Yes.
I find terrifying.
Yeah.
And the Nordic combined, the sport that I mentioned earlier, there's two disciplines in it. There's ski jumping and cross country skiing. Now, being on the ground the whole time, that makes sense to me. I
Sure.
can do that. Not well, but I can do that. But this ski jumping is just absolutely terrifying, and I want no part of it. I'll watch it, but
What
it
what
just
blows my mind there is how do you get to that level without destroying yourself? There has to be some sort of simulator or something to
Yeah.
get to an Olympic level because otherwise, how are you flying and landing every time? You're definitely not.
yeah.
So
Well,
blows.
Bob, put some videos on here. I know we have some great flying through the air crash videos that some of our athletes and guests have sent this week, but more so, there's like wind tunnels that they like jump up and try to stay afloat, because like a headwind is awful for you guys for running. You don't want to be running into the wind, but they thrive off of headwind because that's what keeps them in the air and allows them to actually go further. It's a weird concept that headwind actually makes you go further, right?
Yeah.
But they have all these crazy machines. They all started when they're two. Also, three is like you're starting too late if you're ski jumping, and it doesn't hurt that they're all literally from the exact same town in Colorado, which I just have no idea how it's like it's crazy. It's like Steamboat Springs, Colorado. They're all from this one little town, and all the great ski jumpers come from there. So maybe there's
Yeah.
something in the water. But
Yeah.
yeah, Annika in that wind
With
tunnel,
the
like
water.
it's crazy. It's just you can stay up for. It looks like it would actually be fun to train for, but not necessarily to do live. Maybe yeah, maybe that's it, especially in front of people. How do you deal with that? How do you compete in front of people? I know there weren't too many people around, this past year, or I guess past 2 seasons, but I guess we can, go back to college and full stadiums. I mean, NCAAs was always like completely packed, right? Or whatever your conference championships were. How do you guys kind of do you ignore that? Do you thrive off of that? Like, what do you do when there's a big crowd?
Well, personally, I tend to thrive off of a bigger crowd only because it's like you can't. I don't. I I'm like I don't want to embarrass myself, so I feel like I gotta do the ultimate most. Like the gotta be at the top of my game. Can't let myself down because then it's like if I let myself down, I let everybody else down, and it's just like bad. But so the bigger the crowd, I feel like I perform a little bit better. But that also comes with experience too, because I have not always been like that. Trust
Mhm,
me. Like especially when I first got into college, like when it came to my first NCAA's, I left early in the 4x1 and we ended up getting like fifth, but it wasn't like a bad situation. It was just like a learning situation because by the time senior year came around, we got third. So
mhm,
it was, it's like I said, learning experience. It comes with time and experience. Um, but yeah, I like bigger crowds now after, dealing with it and learning with it. 2019 Doha was big because that was right before COVID hit. So everybody was still be able to be in the um, stadium and everything. So I was able
right.
to from college to that was a good transition. So I like I said, bigger crowds.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Cool. Yeah, we've been having like over 150,000 people watching each one of these episodes, which is more than any stadium can really hold. So pressure's on tonight, right?
How about
This
you?
the
Hey,
now you're
yeah.
performing at your best, your
Yeah.
absolute finest, right? Well, speaking of performing in front of 100, I mean 150,000 is nothing compared to, how many people watch the actual Olympic Games, Gabby. So I guess this is just this is not much, but as far as in a packed stadium, what about you?
Mhm.
Mhm.
For me, okay, so I started out before I ran track, I danced and I also used to sing. So I was kind of like used to being in front of crowds. So the crowd has never actually made me nervous. Now I find that it's kind of weird. Like it's like the crowd is there, but I don't necessarily hear them because I think I'm just so used to it by now that it's just like I like tune it out. But I will say I do enjoy a crowd being there. It kind of like makes the experience more hype.
Hmm.
Now, on that same note, you guys both know how to get to that next level, whether you're in front of a big crowd or whether you're in front of an empty stadium. Is there a song or two that you always have to listen to? Is there always something you do in your get pumped up regimen? Because there's
Mhm.
something about when the moment hits, there's that next level that you guys I know can both relate to, but not everyone can relate to because they don't have a profession that needs to get to that next level. So is there anything that you could think of that just gets you boom right there? Or is there like any kind of song that you have to listen to or anything?
Um, I think I always listen to Dreams and Nightmares at some point in my song regimen. Another thing that I found I think worked. So before the Olympic trials, I'm a Kobe Bryant fan, and literally I read his whole like I was out there for 2 weeks, so I had his Mamba Mentality book, and I read the whole thing, and then I PR'd like every round. So I was like,
Whoa.
maybe reading his book and like listening to Kobe Bryant motivation is a thing that like helped.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So we're running over. I mean, this was supposed to be somewhat of a short conversation, but I'm having a blast with you. Are you guys in a rush to leave, or no? You're
No.
like you don't want to go watch some of this? Oh my god!
Why is everything in
Hey,
slow
I
motion?
mean,
I don't know
right.
what's
As
going
long as
on
they
there.
landed
Right.
Well, they landed with a smile,
Oh my lord.
and with a smile, hey, then as long as they're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah.
which I could say, yeah, for me. So we the show is called What Were You Thinking, because I always like to kind of end our segments with getting inside your guys' heads at what you were thinking in different moments in your careers. So I gotta ask you, Gabbi,
Mhm.
what were you thinking? Obviously, some unique circumstances for qualifying for the Olympic team, but what were you thinking when you finally heard the words? I don't know exactly what the words were, but you
Yeah.
are an Olympian. What were you thinking at that exact moment in time?
I think at that exact moment in time, I was like, wow, I really did it, but it kind of felt like I was dreaming. Like I still to this day, I don't think it's hit me
Uh-huh.
that like it was a thing. Like I know I was there, but it feels like a moment that was a dream to me. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that had to do with like they're kind of being fans or not, but I'm still waiting for the moment where I'm like, okay, I really was
Well,
there.
it'll happen
Yeah.
again.
But
It'll happen again.
Yeah, it's
yes,
Right, 2024.
got to
yes.
be somewhat euphoric, right? It is a little bit dreamlike
Mhm.
because it's not with a giant empty Olympic stadium. It kind of maybe, yeah, I could see that feeling like a dream, almost
Mhm.
like not real. Even though your passport was stamped, it says that you went, right?
That's
So
true. I
yeah,
mean, I know it was a real thing. Just like the feeling to me in my head, it's like, wow, this really happened. Like it was literally like a dream moment.
mhm. So then, like, looking back on trials, then right before that, or I guess it was a
Mhm.
month and change before that. Does that feel more real? Like that you were at trials and that was a that
Yeah.
sort of an event? Yeah, it does.
I think like having the crowd there and it being so hype in that moment, like I definitely can like relate and feel like that was a weird real experience. Not that the Olympics wasn't a real experience, but everything about competing, like every time I would step out on the track, it was kind of like a weird dream daze that I
Hmm,
felt like I was in.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, you know what I think the thing is, because the U.S. track team arrived after opening
Yes.
ceremonies, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So I think that's it. It's when you're in opening ceremonies in Paris, that'll make it feel real. Like you'll be like,
Yes.
oh yeah,
Wow.
this is
Yeah.
there's gonna be a bunch of Parisians. They're gonna be wearing bonnets or something. I don't know what they do
Sure.
out there, waving their baguettes in the air for you, chanting your name.
A
And
croissant in the other hand. We all know how they do it
that's
over
right.
there.
That's right. No one's applauding. It's just a bunch of ha ha ha's, and it'll
Mhm.
be awesome. And it'll feel real, as
Yes.
real as I just described it. I'm sure. So all right. So Kiara, I don't know how to put this in a question. What were you thinking? But having been battling a few injuries over the span of the last couple of seasons, right? And then this past weekend in Louisville, you win that race. I'm just kind of curious. I guess it's more, what are you thinking now going into this season? You're healthy, you're quick, you got champs coming up. It's a world championship year. It's a huge year for you right now. So, what are you thinking?
So honestly, you want to know what? Okay, you want to know what I was thinking after I
I
finished
asked
the
the
race.
question.
I was like, first thing that came out of my mind was those 2 minute runs were worth it,
Mm,
because we
Mm,
had 2 minute runs in the beginning of the season, well, beginning of like off season, and I'm like, they're finally paying off. Like they're finally worth it. I'm finally able to see the process behind all of those workouts and all of that pain. But
mhm,
what I'm thinking right now is I'm still not done yet. I still have a lot more that I need to do. I like they're really not worth it yet because the goal still hasn't been completed. So like I celebrated in the moment, but now it's time to come back down and come back to reality because okay, I won one race.
Mhm.
I PR'd, but like I said, the work still isn't done. So that's what I'm thinking right now. I'm back in the mode of I still have another 2 weeks before I can let go. Well, not necessarily because you never know what might happen at USA's. So,
Yeah.
um, right now I'm just getting back to work. That's the only thing that's on my mind right now is I'm still not done and I'm still thinking about outdoor because that's really what I'm training for. So I'm like, this is just the beginning. I'm
Mhm.
just ready to keep going. Yep.
Then trying to
Yeah,
stamp
and then
that
hopefully
passport in 2 years. You know?
that's
Yeah.
right. And celebrate with a big old steak. All right, since it's what were you thinking? I got to go back. What were you thinking? It's a little bit of an insidery joke at this point, but I'm going to put on the show anyway. What were you thinking at that training session in Fayetteville when you started throwing up? And I'm just like, ooh, Kiara's throwing up. And I got this close to you with my camera.
Oh God.
What were you thinking at that point in time?
I was
What?
thinking if this man doesn't get out of my face and let me throw up in peace, but I will say
You
him being
narrated
right
your.
there, him being right there allowed me to get up and finish the workout. Because Lord knows, if the cameras weren't there, I probably would have stopped and would have been like, I can't do
Oh.
anymore. But you can't
You.
look bad for the
Yeah.
cameras, which is exactly what I mean when you can't embarrass yourself when you're in front of big crowds. It's the same thing,
Wow.
Mhm.
literally. So when the cameras are there, you gotta put on your best face. Okay, I'm gonna do this last little 300, even though I just threw my guts out and it's on camera.
Mhm.
Good thing Bob didn't like insert that.
We
So
didn't show the whole thing, but if you guys want to see Kiara throwing up, go to youtube.com/world's greatest, and you can. There's a series that we did that has it's called the Boogie Down, right? It's about Boogie Johnson, but Boogie's camp came to Fayetteville and did some training with you. So there's an episode that contains a lot of you in there as well.
You have to
And
look
then
at that.
also we have an episode of one-on-ones where Kiara interviews herself, which is hilarious. And we just shot one of those with Gabbi during Milrose games, so that's going to be
Yay.
out at some point
all
soon.
right.
It's my like by far the most fun interviews that I ever do with you guys are these one-on-ones because some of the questions are really stupid, but then when you have to ask them to yourself, it takes stupid to a whole new level, and it's just absolutely hilarious. So great. And Kiara, pretty damn good singer, and she's singing hers. She's got some pipes. Sing us
I
out before we end the show. Sing us out.
You want me to?
I
I
mean,
mean, I
you
can.
both know how to sing. Maybe just come up with something
Hey,
together and
we can put something together. Look, I'm more so of the writer of the group, so I can write and then like she can sing it.
I
She
mean, I
can
feel
sing
like if you
it.
both sing now, it sets the tone for down the road when you're about to do bobsled
Okay.
together. It'll,
Yeah,
you
this
play
the
back.
singing
Remember that day on the internet?
the singing sisters of track is what we'll call it.
Yeah.
Uh, that's gonna be great. All right. This was really fun. Thank both of you for joining us. Last thing before we let you guys go for the night, tell everyone where they can look you up, where they can find you. You know what's going on in your life. If you want to shout out anybody, go for it right now. Typically, it's no free shout outs, but the floor is yours. So, Gabbi, tell us where we can find you on social media, what you got going on.
Okay, so my Instagram is it's underscore Gabby with 3 eyes, and my Twitter, I believe, is it's underscore Gabby with 2 eyes. So you can find me on both of those.
Okay.
Those are my two main handles. I don't have a YouTube, I do have a Facebook. You can find me as Gabbi Cunningham on Facebook, but who uses that? No, I'm joking. But yeah.
There you go.
Well, you can follow me on Instagram at underscore Kiara Parker. So it's literally just my name. And on Twitter, it's I'm trackatized. So
Nice.
think of capitized, but with track.
All right. All right. It still says Queen Scorpio is your name though.
I think so. Yes, I am a Scorpio. Birthday October 28th. So
I'm always
best sign in
at
the world. Go make some more Scorpios.
Oh God.
first I'm just
All
like,
right.
oh, wow, okay. No, at first I was like, who is this? Who's on my Twitter? And then I'm like, oh wait, that's Kiara. Okay, cool. I like that. Yeah. I was like, who's Queen Scorpio? I don't know any queens, but I guess I know. Well, queens from a royal sense, you know.
Yes.
Guys, this was fun. We have to do this
Yeah.
again.
For sure.
Thank you so much.
Kira, I will send you the list of foods. I'll find you on Instagram and
Please
send it
do.
to you.
Oh,
Please do.
I'll just text it to her. We'll get on a group chat.
That
'Cause
works.
Everyone loves more of those.
Mhm.
Yes, everyone loves more group chats.
There you go. Awesome. All right, Kiara, Gabby, thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna stick around after you guys hop off. You can hop off now if you want. Curling's about to start. You gotta
Ooh, come on now.
Have to.
You can't miss curling. Actually,
Right.
USA versus Canada is on right now, but I'm gonna watch it after because I need to focus on
We
that.
all know who's gonna win that one, unfortunately.
USA.
Yeah, we're gonna win. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. And then U.S. Canada in the women's ice hockey final is tomorrow night, and
Wow.
now
That's intense.
That-
Yeah.
that's one. Yeah, definitely. That's appointment viewing. That's live TV viewing. It's like 11 o'clock at night. It's actually the one time slot that's viewable out there.
It's awesome.
So, yeah, check that out. All right, thank you guys so much. We'll see you around, I'm sure. Bye.
Thank you.
And so to transition for folks who stick around,
Mhm.
I alluded to, and Johnny, by all means, feel free to stick around and watch. Well, we're
I
gonna
actually have to record something else in 5 minutes.
you got a
so I-
podcast coming up. Okay, well, here's
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do. Kiara's back.
I'm oh,
You can't leave.
I don't know how to leave.
She doesn't know how to get out of here. All right, there she goes.
That was great.
Bye. Goodbye. So, all right. So here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna jump. Johnny, thank you so much for joining. What's gonna happen next is we're gonna run like a little less than 20 minutes of a segment from me talking with our Nordic combined athletes who are out there in Europe. They have some hilarious stories about traveling. We did an earlier segment in another episode that was all about the sport. We have some more stuff in future episodes, but this one, it's kind of off the hill. It's about traveling. It's about them being professional skiers. It's really fun.
Awesome.
You'll laugh and you'll learn, which is the goal for what we're doing here.
And
So, Johnny-
Norway's crushing it in the Olympics. My goodness.
Well, it's helpful when you have snow 12 months out of the year.
That's the thing.
Yeah. So, Johnny, before you jump, tell everyone where they can find you, and then tell them where they can find your album, where they can find your special, all that good stuff.
Sure. I'm at all social media handles, Quasto, the letter JQUASTO. If you want to watch my special, you can watch for free. It's streaming on Roku, Tubi, Sling TV, a couple other platforms. Just go to quastospecial.com. It's an hour comedy special. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And my album is also on all social media platforms and all audio platforms, that whole thing too. So, yeah, it's great hanging out with you, Mike. And we were very lucky to have Gabby and Kiara, that's for sure.
Absolutely. For those wondering, and Johnny, I know you're wondering, my favorite track on the album, it's called Adam and Eve, and the best punchline in the whole thing is at the 1 minute 30 some odd second mark. Funniest thing, I laugh out loud every time.
Thanks, buddy.
Go check it out, everybody. It's a goodie. I'll tell you. Johnny, thank you so much for joining us, man. We have to have you back. We need to do more content with you.
I would love to work with World's Greatest. You just tell me, bro. We'll make it happen. I'll ski jump for you. I don't care. Let's go.
Done.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Billy DeMong, who you kind of met the other night. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I saw his face. Everyone was frozen. But, I saw his face.
Oh, I can't fake that I'm frozen because the TV is moving in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
Dang. All right. Go record your podcast. Everyone else, stick around here. I'm also going to jump as well so we can go full screen on the video. But please enjoy this awesome conversation that we had with Grant Andrews, Tess Arnone, and Nicholas I keep doing that. Malasinski. Nordic combined from USA Nordic, but they were in Europe at the time. So enjoy the rest of the show, and we'll see you all back here tomorrow night. Guest Kenny Mayne, the legendary Kenny Mayne, on not tomorrow night.
Then
I know.
I'll be back tomorrow as well.
There you go. Devin Allen is returning to co-host again. Talia Brooks will also be on the Heptathlete. She'll be back for another run at the show. Thanks everyone for watching. Bob, roll the tape. Roll the tape. Technical difficulty. Apparently, some people were seeing it, some people were not. So we're gonna try that one more time, and hopefully you can watch it. And yeah, let's try it again, shall we? Anytime. Okay. Well, look, in the meantime, as we get it going, I just want to remind everybody that you can follow World's Greatest on social media at World's Greatest Team on Instagram. You can see all of our premium content, and there's some great stuff at youtube.com/World's Greatest. Really, really, really cool series. Roundtable discussions on there, one-on-one interviews, like I told you before. Great series called Super Docs, Telly Award winning for Super Docs. Where is it? Like, yeah, there you go. Super Docs is great, short 1 to 2 minute documentaries on all of these athletes. They're really cool. And you can also follow us on Twitter at World's Greatest. Remove all of the vowels at WRLDSGRTST. So there you go. It sounds like we're ready to go. So we're gonna check it out. Roll the tape, I guess. No, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. I'll tell you, running in the Olympics, that sounds tough. Sure. But trying to filibuster technical difficulties, they should give out medals for that. Let me tell you. Believe you me. This this is way harder than running 100-meter hurdles. Oh goodness. Okay, we'll have it back up and running any second now. It's and I'm telling you, it's worthwhile conversation to stick around and hear what some of these athletes have to say out there in Europe. So stand by. We're gonna get this done. It looks. Oh, wait a minute. Is that? It looks like we have an American gold. An American just won another gold medal and a silver. Look at that. Well, you love to see that live, don't you? Well, let's see if we can make it happen. There you go. Alexander Hall and Nicholas Gopper? coming in first and second in the men's free ski slope style, which is not very easy to do. So, all right, we're going to try one more time here. Remember, also, our commemorative NFTs dropping this week. I think there may be a free NFT option. Not entirely sure. We're going to get those details. We're going to announce them tomorrow. But I'm fairly sure that there's going to be one. And here's the video. There's the video. Is a huge part of what you guys do, and I'm sure you guys have some amazing stories. So I kind of want to start with, well, let's start with something less amazing. Let's start with worst, your worst travel story. Just experience getting out, lost skis, lost loads, whatever. I want to hear what the worst thing that happened to you guys.
You told me.
Yeah, okay. So last time I came to Norway, literally here in Lillehammer, I flew from Munich and we had a stop in Amsterdam. And along the way, like I had my passport with me as I went through the Munich like check-in area.
Mhm.
And by the time I landed in Amsterdam, I just didn't have it anymore. I looked all over my seat. It was just like under everywhere. It was completely gone. Got off the plane and was in Amsterdam and still had to go to Norway, which is an international flight.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh no, I don't know if I'm making it there. But the lucky part was that it's part of the Schengen area in Europe. So I didn't need it to like finish my travel day. So I got to Norway without my passport and ended up having to get an emergency passport in Oslo the next day. And I was just super lucky that we ended up going to a place that I could go to a US embassy and get one. Because I would have been stuck otherwise. And so that's my worst for sure.
We, as a team, we had a interesting experience going back and forth between Finland.
This year.
This year. So shout out Finnair. They lost our
Finnair's
bags.
lost all of our bags.
They lost our bags 4 times in a row, flying there, back. It was awful. And then their customer service sucks. Our coaches were on the lines. I was on the line for 4 hours before I got a hold of them, and that was a good day. My coaches were like on the phone for like 6-8 hours on hold, waiting for someone to answer, and their customer service was not doing it for us. And so the first time I went was for a World Cup, and we had to borrow some skis for like training and stuff like that, borrow everything. And then and it sucks for me because I packed a lot of my clothes into my ski bag. But
Rookie mistake.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
you've learned since then, haven't you?
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So for the World Cup, we got our skis, I think the day of the competition. We finally got them after calls made all across Finland to try to figure that out. And like having friends personally make sure they get onto a bus, etc. But and then on the way back, lost them again. And then the next time I went was for a COC. They lost him on the way there. Luckily, we got him within a day.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you there because you're missing some parts that are important. So when we went from Munich to Helsinki Kuusamo, and we got to Helsinki and realized that our bags didn't come because you can check and like see where your bags are. And wait, did Gregor fly to Oulu?
Hold on. So we actually watched the plane pull away as our skis were outside of the window on the ground. So then our coach flew a different route so the skis would fit onto the plane because like Finnair was dealing with like smaller planes that don't fit skis and all. So he flew to Oulu to make sure that the skis get on, and he quadruple checked with so many different staff members that yes, they will make it there. Like what would like just all this logistic stuff, and then sure enough, they did not show up.
And then on the way back from Ruka to Munich, we went to the airport, and it was supposed to be a bigger plane that could fit our jump skis inside. And we checked beforehand because we had problems going there. But I guess they switched the plane again. So it basically how this plane works is you have a small compartment in the front. So like the captain is here, the luggage is here, and then all the passengers are back here. Normally it's under, but
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
and so they're like, yeah, those aren't going to fit on the plane. And our coach was going to go out of Kusamo, but what ended up happening, because it was a small plane, is he had to drive all the way to Oulu and then take our skis from Oulu to Munich. And of course, even then, they still didn't arrive. And the crazy part is we were going to Olympic trials the next day out of Munich. So we didn't get any of our ski bags, no race skis, no jump skis. And luckily, like some people could train on other people's jump skis there because some people are the same height. You can use the same jump skis. And like, also, I think some of us left stuff in Munich that we could take back with us just in case, because they had problems for the World Cup earlier in the year. So some of us had stuff, some of us didn't. It was wild. And then, of course, the craziest part is all of it showed up after Olympic trials, but like a week after. And I was lucky because I was still there. These guys went back home, so I took most of it back, but there's still one bag missing right now to this day.
Oh no.
And it's our race ski fleet for the Continental Cup for here. We just don't have skis.
Yeah. So what is that, like 12 pairs of skis?
12 pairs of race skis.
And the worst part
gone.
is they won't reimburse us for what it would be like probably close to $20,000 worth of skis.
Well,
Wow.
I think it's like at least $600 per pair.
Yeah, or more. Either way, they can only reimburse us $1,500.
No, I heard it was lower. I heard it was 700. That's what we get for those.
Wow.
And so yeah, we totally lost that ski bag. It's just vanished off the face of the earth.
I'm checking eBay right now to see if they're popped up on there yet. Maybe they will. So
yeah.
You just successfully took Finnair off of our potential sponsors list. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Normally when you shout someone out, it's supposed to be a good thing. You're like, shout out Finnair, you suck.
Yeah.
And this is why we will not be flying Finnair.
Well, the shitty part is there's no other airlines to fly in Finland. You have to fly Finnair.
Yeah.
So it's just like in the future, it's going to be a problem. Like they lose our skis. They always lose their skis. And it's not just our skis. It's every team's skis. Like all the other teams had problems with it getting there too. And I think the only solution is to drive, which is so far. It's
gotta be a train, right? There's gotta be a train situation.
Okay, but if you're in Austria and you have to go to northern Finland,
it's a schlep.
Yeah, it's a schlep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not only that, but you can't travel with tens of bags in a train.
Yeah,
with one coach or like two
way
coaches.
too fast. So you have to send them in a cargo van, which means somebody is driving 30 hours plus, which is just, it's awful for them. Because then they come here and they just have to work all day waxing skis. But yeah, that was the worst by far travel experience that I've had.
That's rough.
The entire year has been so shit with bags. Everything's getting lost.
That's rough. Tess, tell me a travel story that you've got.
Yeah. Okay. So last year when COVID was a really big like inhibitor of traveling, we were coming, my teammate Alexa and I were coming to Lillehammer for the World Cup opener, which was going to be like the first World Cup for women ever. And so we're flying out of Steamboat Springs and there's a little airport there and it's like starting to snow. And they're like, we can sneak you out of this airport. Like, this is going to be the last flight out of here today. Cause it was kind of like really crappy. but it was delayed by like an hour, and our like layover in Denver was like before like even any snow problems was like 45 minutes.
Mhm.
So we're like crunching the timeline to get to Denver. We get there like 10 minutes before our next flight's supposed to board. We're like running across the airport. We get there, it's snowing in Denver too. They cancel the flight.
Oh, after you ran to the gate?
Yeah, they cancel the flight because it's snowing.
Oh,
But
another story.
at this point, Alexa's COVID test, our COVID test couldn't be more than 72 hours old at that point. Now it's 48, I think. But her COVID test was too old. So we had to get back to Steam, and neither of us were 18 at that point. So we couldn't stay in Denver and like get a hotel room or anything. So they're like, we don't know what to do with you. You can't stay at the airport all night. And then Alexa needed to get a COVID test. So we fly back to Steamboat. They somehow the weather like blew through enough to where we could land in Steamboat. Her dad comes and picks us up. It starts snowing again, just a whiteout blizzard while we're driving to like the hospital for her to get another COVID test. We get into Steamboat at like 10. We're done with the COVID test. Took a long time. It was like 11:30 by the time we were done with the COVID test. And our flight to Denver the next day was at like 4 a.m. And it's like a 45 minute drive to the airport. So we finally get on the airplane to Europe after that night thinking, oh God, this has already been a shit show. What else could go wrong? Everything goes fine until we get to Norway border control. And they're like, we changed the like COVID restrictions while you were on your 8-hour plane ride.
Oh,
So now you have to quarantine in this hotel that we choose for 10 days. So we get pulled on, like, we get escorted from like border control to this hotel by like the Norwegian police, where Alexa and I stay in like a less than 400 square foot room for 10 days. Then we finally get out. And at this point, our coach calls Annika because she was on her way to Norway too. And is like, don't come to Norway because you might get stuck.
I was literally boarding my flight.
Yeah, she was like walking onto the plane as she got this call. So we get here and finally to Lillehammer, and like I'm staying with our coach and our other teammate Tara at the time. And we're just hanging around Norway. There's like no snow, so we're on like this 1K like skate ski loop, and the jumps aren't ready. So we were like just going crazy out of our mind, just skiing laps, and like couldn't jump. And then finally, I don't know if it was just because of the COVID situation or like hills weren't really ready. I think it was mainly the COVID. They're like, oh, we're gonna cancel the World Cup.
Oh my God.
So we're in Norway, like, okay, I'm supposed to go home in 5 days. What am I supposed to do? Or we're like, okay, we just came to Norway for no reason. Like, didn't get to jump, skied on, like, they finally got a little bit more, like, skate skiing opened at the end, but, like, for a good, like, 5 days, we were just skiing on a 1K loop. And then, like, 3 days before we're supposed to head home, we get, like, the email that Ramsau is going to pick up the World Cup. So we're like, okay. So we fly to Austria, and our coach drives our van and all of our stuff to Austria. We meet up with Annika, and we finally get to compete. But that was a stressful month.
Yeah, to add to that, long story short, our teammates had tested positive and had to quarantine in Russia for
That was this year.
12. Yes, did I not say that?
Well,
No,
this is
mine
a
was
different
last
story.
year.
Different
Yeah.
story.
Either way, our
story.
teammates had to quarantine in Russia because of some positive tests, and I was told that was quite the experience.
Yeah. Okay. So a ski jumper named Decker Dean, he tested positive in Russia, and this is Nizhny Tagil, Russia. Like, if you point to the middle of Russia on a map, you'll probably hit it.
That sounds unfortunate. Go on.
And so he tested positive, and they took him out of his room, put him in an ambulance, took him to a hospital, and literally tied him to a bed.
No.
Yeah.
They gave him a mystery vaccine that they still won't tell us what it was, or mystery shot, and
Yeah.
they still don't.
They don't know what it is.
They don't know what it is.
So yeah, COVID and travel for our team has been like, we have so many horror stories. Yeah, like I could just go on. I have another one from earlier this year.
Have you considered baseball? Because it's not too late.
Yeah.
Yeah,
enough,
I
fair
mean,
enough.
I think one of the main reasons we have so many problems traveling is because our skis are so long, and most of the time they're over like the allowed ski length
Mhm.
or just bag length for a flight. So that's why they just get left everywhere. You can put in as much, you can call like the airline as much as you want, put in notes into your reservation, make sure they know that you are going to have long baggage,
Mhm.
and then they just get left plainside. And it happens so often. I think maybe the only other sport that would have problems like we do is pole vaulting, probably.
They have, so I've discussed this with many a pole vaulter, and not only do they have problems with bags getting lost, well, just getting it to the airport is crazy because it's like, oh, I'm just gonna strap this 90-foot tube to my Corolla or whatever.
Yeah.
But not 90 feet, but you get it. But then they also have a lot of pole breakage. It happens all the time.
Oh,
They'll show up and it's like, okay, I'm showing up to this Diamond League final and all my poles are broken and now I need to jump on someone else's poles. And their pole, I'm sure it's similar with skis, like they're tailored to you, right? So if the stiffness or the length is different for them, they have big issues. I'm sure if you're like, oh, I'm going to borrow your skis because you're the same height, and it's like, well, it's maybe made a little bit differently or this and that. I'm sure it's not easy.
It's exactly the same with ski jumping skis. There's so many different variations on ski jumping skis. Like some will hit you harder right after the takeoff, and then some will hit you harder at the bottom of the hill. It's just based off of like the splay of the ski at the tip and like how far back the splay is placed, and then also the weights on the back of the ski and how much it like comes up. It's like the balance point at the toe piece for the binding. So yeah, if you jump on somebody else's ski, I mean, and then there's also ski length, of course, which like you can't jump on skis that are longer than what's allowed for you.
Sure.
But yeah, if you jump on somebody else's skis more often than not, you're gonna have a completely different feeling in the air for your jump. So yeah, it's the exact same thing. Maybe even more extreme, actually. But I mean, we actually don't usually have problems with breakage of our skis. Sometimes they'll grind, like if they drag the bag on the ground, they might grind the tip or tail down a little bit. Like Jared Shoemate's ski just has like a little bit ground off the tail because they just drag it around and it tears through the ski bag. And yeah, there's a lot of
it's gonna tear through the ski bag, and all of a sudden he's gonna show up and he's gonna have one ski. Like, hey, your bag made it, but there's only one ski in there, and that's gonna be an interesting jump, to say the least.
I think a good travel story for us would just be a travel day that everything goes smoothly. You get there, all your stuff arrives, just like what normal people like deal with. Like it would be like, oh yeah, it was a fine travel day. Like that's good for us, I'd say.
Yeah, like the worst thing that happens is someone's allergic to peanuts on the flight, so you can't get peanuts that day. Like that's
exactly.
Okay. You can deal with that, but please let my skis and everything show up.
Oh man, it's rough.
All right. Well, look, we're going to be doing this show for the next like week and change, week and a half. So if anything else comes up, like if you're mid jump and you're like, damn, I should have told Mike about that. Not that you're doing this mid air.
I mean, I don't want to offend you, but I don't think I'm going to be trying to think about that while I'm competing tomorrow.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair point. You're like, oh man, thin air, those bastards. Like,
yeah,
no.
Exactly.
But like,
skis.
yeah, right. Oh, I got my skis on. That's just like I talked to Mike about. But look, this was awesome. Thank you guys for coming back. Thank you, Grant, for being here for the first time. I hope to talk to all you guys again. We're gonna keep this show going. So by all means, just if you got nothing to do out there, hit us up. We'll chat again. I got more questions. Bob's got more questions.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'd be interested for sure.
Great. All right. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Travel is a huge part of what you guys do. And I'm sure you guys have some amazing stories.